joining us. This is our first podcast, Ski Talk with Tim and Tony. And today we're going to talk about why you should have your ski boot professionally fitted. And my partner, Tim, I'm going to ask him some questions about his experience with his ski boot and what led him to why he decided to go get his boot professionally fitted to his feet. So, Tim, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Tony. How are you?
I'm doing good. And how long you been skiing, Tim?
50 years.
Wow, you've been skiing 50 years. I've been skiing about 52 years. That's 100 and what, 12 years of skiing.
There you go.
So, I think a lot of people take the ski boot for granted, and I'm guilty of that. And I think back in the day, many years ago, I had a pair of ski boots that just killed my feet. And I know more recently, you had a bad experience with your ski boots, your present ski boots, and they were hurting your feet, and you decided to do something about it. So, why did you decide to go to Sports Ltd and have them professionally fitted?
Because my feet were in extreme pain at the end of the ski day and really kind of throughout.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I don't know that I didn't notice it that much like when I was skiing, but man, when we got to the bottom of the hill and at the end of the day, particularly, my feet were just in extreme pain.
So it was one of those situations where you could not wait to get those ski boots off.
Exactly. Instead of being able to go down and relax after skiing, maybe have a beer or
Uh-huh.
a sandwich or whatever. Um, Now I couldn't wait to get back to the car, get my boots off, and get my shoes on.
So did your boots hurt when you walked in them, or while you were skiing, or both?
I think there was some pain even when I walked in them, but mainly when I was, you know, after I started skiing, and then I had to do something, and so I either needed to get new boots or figure
Mm-hmm.
out why they were hurting,
Mm-hmm.
and so I took them to the ski shop. We're fortunate to have Sports Ltd.
Mm-hmm.
I actually live, you know, 20 minutes from there.
Mm-hmm.
They've been in business since 1965, and all they do is skis and snowboards and, well, they do wakeboards and stuff like that, but they're very focused on what their market is,
Mm-hmm.
and they're year round. So, very fortunate to have a resource like that.
Mm-hmm. So take us through it. Your ski boot was hurting you, so you went to Sports Ltd. And what was the procedure like? What did they do for you?
Well, the first thing was he had me put my boot on, and he saw how I was putting my boot on, and he goes, wait a minute, wait a minute. This is how you got to put your boot on the proper way. And I mean, maybe somebody told me this way back when, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember it. Um, and basically, what he explained was you want to have your heel all the way in the back of the boot when you put it on, and that's really where you want your foot to be positioned as you're skiing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how do you get it there and keep it there? What you do when you first put your boots on is you buckle one of the top buckles, or maybe put the strap around if you've got a strap at the top, to give you some leverage so that you can bend your knee and lean forward, and do that repetitiously a few times,
Mm-hmm.
shoving your heel into the back of your boot.
Okay.
And then once you've accomplished that, you, with your knee bent, you want to go down and buckle the upper buckle on your instep.
Mm-hmm.
And what that does is it pins your foot back against the back of the boot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the problem that occurs is even when you do that and you get your boot all buckled up and everything and your foot's in the correct position,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the arch on your foot can flatten out.
Mm-hmm.
And when it does that, it'll slide forward under your buckles. So now you've lost that critical piece of keeping your foot towards the back of the boot.
Mm. So there's a whole technique in putting on your boot,
There is.
which I've had many ski boots, and no one has ever told me that.
I can't remember anybody telling me.
Can you demonstrate it? Can you show us on your ski boot? You were talking about a certain buckle you want
Yeah,
to.
what you want to do is either, the first thing with everything else loose, either put this strap on or this buckle to give you some leverage so when you're bending forward at the knee, uh, you're able to sort of pivot your heel into the back of the boot. And you want to keep doing that. I mean, he probably did it 5 to 10 times, really, making sure that your foot's all the way in the back. And then this is the critical buckle here, right? Because the arch of your foot is kind of down here, and you're buckling this buckle, tightening it down, and that should be clamping your foot towards the back of the boot so that it can't slide forward. The problem is when your foot flattens out, which I think all feet can do, then it can move under that buckle and go up and cause your toes and everything else to be hitting, towards the front, like up in the toe of the boot. Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, and it's just something you got to remember to do. You just got to get in the habit of doing that every time you put your boot on.
Okay, so that's good information to know. So it seems like if you don't put your boot on properly, that could be a cause of the boot hurting your feet,
Yeah,
possibly.
I think that was part of my problem for
Uh-huh.
sure.
When you went to Sports LTD, and what was the procedure? What did they do to help find the cause of why the boot is hurting your feet?
Well, so like we talked about, the first thing was how do you put your boot on properly,
Mm-hmm.
and then they recommended that we put an insert under my foot in the boot.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a generic insert that's not formed to your foot, but basically it provides arch support,
Mm-hmm.
similar to what you would put in a shoe to do the same thing. And what that does is it prevents your foot from flattening out and being able to move underneath the buckle.
Okay.
And so it keeps your foot in the correct position in the boot. And basically, it's an easy thing for them to do. They take out, there's like a piece in your boot, the sort of foam at the bottom, and it's just flat.
Mm-hmm.
So they take that out and they put it up against that insert so they can trim the insert to the same size.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put that insert in, and voila, you now have arch support.
When you did the arch support, when you had the inserts put in, is it something they can do that right then and there, or do you have to leave the boot there then come back and
No,
pick it up?
they can do it right there. Doesn't take very long. I mean, you could really do it yourself as well
Mm-hmm.
on that one. Um, like
Is
I said, you just have to reach in there and pull out that bottom piece and then trim your insert. But
Mm-hmm.
they'll do it for you probably at the ski shop as
Mm-hmm.
well. I mean, certainly they did that for me.
And what is the cost to do an insert like that?
I think that first insert costs like 25 or 30 bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought it was very reasonable and it solved my problem. I mean, we went
Mm-hmm.
skiing, and at the end of the day, I was ready to sit down and have a beer, and I wasn't worried about getting my boots off.
After you did that and you went skiing, you were happy with it. It solved your problem. You decided to upgrade, and so explain that. What was that all
Yeah,
about?
so that made my feet feel much better. And then I thought, well, maybe I ought to try the custom inserts. And the custom insert is the same principle and everything, but basically what they do is they have a little oven that sits under the platform that you're sitting on there when you're trying your boots on. And they take one of those custom inserts and they put it in that oven and they heat it up so that you can then stand on it and it conforms to the bottom of your foot. So it gives you a custom fit, and they put that in there. Now it's that much
Mm-hmm.
more comfortable and supportive, and it was great. So my boot comfort level, if it was at a 1 on a scale of you know 1 to 10, with 1 being the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and maybe it was a 1 or a 2, but I mean, the pain was, you know, it probably took it up to a 7 or an 8.
Mm-hmm.
And by putting that custom piece in there, it took it up to a 9 or a 10. I mean, look, there's still ski boots when you walk in them and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's, not the most comfortable thing to have in the world, but yeah, it made a huge difference.
You had the custom done. Was that costly?
So it was $200.
Okay.
I mean, look, the ski shop's got to invest in that oven and so on in the equipment to do it. Um, and they're probably making some pretty good money on it. But hey,
Mm-hmm.
good for them, right? And and it made it definitely increased the comfort level of my boots.
So there's a big difference from the insert and going to the custom.
I mean, it definitely made a difference. Like let's say
Mm-hmm.
if it was at a 7 and it went up to a 9,
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. I mean, especially as you get older, all that, comfort matters.
Well, I've had my ski boots for about 3 years now. Never taken them in and had them fitted or anything like that. So if I wanted to take them in tomorrow, could I do that, or do I have to buy the boots at the particular ski shop?
No, I can't speak for all the ski shops, but they're more than happy to sell you some inserts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they charge you for a fitting, so I can't remember what that was. It might have been $30 or something like that, depending on what you're buying from them and stuff. That may vary. They may even not even worry about it. Um, but yeah, you don't have to have bought your gear from them, and they'll work with you and get you dialed in.
Mm-hmm.
I think their goal is obviously to make you happy and get you what you need.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this ski shop that that we frequent uh, is very good about they're not pushy. They don't try to sell you something different. They didn't try to sell me different boots. They didn't. I asked them about my skis because I kind of was thinking, I wouldn't mind upgrading my skis,
Mm-hmm.
or just getting the latest and greatest. And he looked at him and said, "No, look, they're really good skis, and just keep skiing them."
Mm-hmm.
So I think finding a ski shop in your neighborhood is, or somewhere that's accessible to you,
Mm-hmm.
uh, is worth its weight in gold.
Mm-hmm. You talked about there's a proper way to put your ski boot on. You talked about the insert. You talked about the custom. Did they say anything about how you should store your ski boots when you're not skiing?
Yeah,
Right.
so basically you just want to buckle them up and uh, and store them buckled so that the boots stay formed in that position that they're basically on when they're on your foot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they did mention that, and then the other thing I didn't mention was the adjustability of all the buckles on the boot. Um, they basically what you want is you want to know what where each one of those buckles, how tight it should be tightened,
Mm-hmm.
and you can adjust uh, those pretty finely by turning
Can you
the
show us on your boot?
yeah, you're turning the buckle. So this piece here will turn, and it will make an adjustment. It you screw it in or you screw it out, makes it longer or shorter, and then that just gives you a really good degree of fine tuning. And so you want to find which slot the buckle should be in, and uh, and then you can spin it. Like I said, this is sort of a coarse adjustment, and this is a very fine adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get those tuned in exactly. In some cases, you may need to move this piece of the buckle. So this sort of receptacle that the buckle goes into can actually be moved by going inside, and this is a screw, actually, it's not a rivet, and there's three positions that can be in if you don't have enough adjustability where it is currently.
Oh wow.
um, Now they've also talked about, there's some other stuff that they do, maybe with, this part of the boot. Um, and some boots, I think, can be heated up and sort of molded a little bit to fit your foot. So talk to your ski shop that you trust, and and they'll work with you.
Where's
It,
your ski shop located?
it's in Woodland Hills on Ventura Boulevard.
Okay.
So San Fernando Valley here in California.
Mm-hmm.
Tony and I are just, and getting off topic a little bit, just so we've skied together for quite a few years, and our main local ski area is up in Big Bear Mountain, and so we ski there, and it's from his house. It's about an hour up the hill. From my house, it's about 2 hours up the hill. And then if we're gonna splurge, we go up to Mammoth. The Mammoth's about a 5 hour drive, and it's like night and day, right? Mammoth is a very large ski resort with a lot of variety, and a lot of lifts and so on. So, anyways, that's our deal. And
Right.
one of the things that we want to talk about on our next podcast is how to save some money when you're skiing, and passes that are available and how you select those passes. So it kind of depends where you ski.
Check in with us next time for Ski Talk with Tim and Tony. And thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, everybody.
See ya.